All right, today's lesson is about writing and evaluating addition and subtraction expressions. We're going to do some in a table, and we're going to kind of talk about how we choose variables and what they represent. Okay, first we're going to do an example. This says read each story problem, identify the unknown quantity, and write an addition or subtraction expression that is described. Finally, evaluate your expression using the information given in column 4. Okay, they've kind of set it up for us. In the first column, we're going to have our problem, kind of the story, what's going on. You need to understand what's happening. The description with units, and this is telling us what the variable is. And when we say, let's say I made some money on my job, I can't just say let m equal money. M equals the money in dollars that I made during the week of, I don't know. Does that make sense? Okay. Expression is kind of the expression with the variable and the numbers, addition or subtraction, it said. We're going to evaluate it if, and this is going to kind of give us, they're going to give us this column. It's going to be the parameters to say, well, if this is this, then plug in your numbers and then show your work. Okay, let's look at their examples. They have a couple examples they're going to give us first. Okay, we'll just go across here. Okay, first is, the story problem. Greg has $2 more than his brother Jeff. Write an expression for the amount of money Greg has. Okay, so we're looking for Greg. We know Jeff, so we're going to describe let J equal Jeff's money in dollars. We got to say dollars. We can't just say Jeff's money. So it could be cents. We want it to be in dollars. We want to be very specific. Okay, so we're writing a variable for the one that we know. Okay, 2 more than Jeff. 2 more than Jeff. Expression is going to be Greg has 2 more than Jeff. Or you take Jeff's amount and you add $2. All right, evaluate the expression if Jeff has $12. So now we're going to plug in 12 for J. So we start with our expression, J plus 2. That's what we got from over here. Plug in the number, 12 is J. 12 plus 2 is 14. So we know that Greg has $14. Okay, not too difficult. Let's look at one more example that they have. Oh, okay, this one's kind of similar. I was like, wait a minute, it looks the same. Okay, now this one says Greg has $2 more than his brother Jeff. Write an expression for the amount of money that Jeff has. Last time we figured out Greg has 14. If Jeff had 12. Okay, so we're going to let this time. We know that Greg has $2 more than Jeff. We're going to write for Jeff, so we have to represent Greg. So G equal Greg's dollars in money. Greg has $2, or Jeff has $2 less than Greg. So Greg is more. Let's say Greg has $14. Well, we know the answer. Well, let's see how they solved it. They took Greg minus 2, plugged in 14 for Greg. 14 minus 2 is 12, so Jeff has $12. All right, we're going to do a problem. It's not going to be as easy and simple as that one, but we'll try to make it that way. Okay. We know that Abby read 8 more books than Kristen in the first marking period. Write an expression for the number of books Abby read. Okay, so we know that Abby read 8 more than Kristen, right? Okay, so we're going to do 8 more than Kristen. All right, so let's see. We're going to have let K equal number, I'm going to shorten it, of books Kristen read. Right? No, wait, time out. Yeah, I'm sorry, I totally spaced out there. Kristen, let K equal the number of books Kristen read in first marking period. Okay, and it's kind of being specific there. Oops, I'm sorry, you can't see that. Okay, the expression is going to be Abby. We want to know how many Abby read, right? So Abby read K plus 8. Whatever Kirsten read, plus 8 more books. Kristen read 9 books in the first marking period, so she did 9. So let's show our work. We start with our expression. Abby read Kristen's books plus 8 more. Okay. Kristen read 9, so we'll plug in 9 plus 8 is 17. So we know that Abby read 17 books in the first marking period. I'm going to have to kind of abbreviate there, but I still want to make sure that we know it's in the first marking period. Okay, that's a little bit tricky because we want to know how many Abby read, but we're not using A for the variable. Okay, we are using the variable of the other person so that we can relate to that person. Okay, I have an example I'm going to give you. Okay, let's say Daryl, and I'm going to kind of scribble it. You do not need to write this one. Daryl has been teaching one year, I'll just abbreviate here, 1 year longer than Julie. And we want an expression, I'm just going to abbreviate, for Daryl teaching years. Okay, that's kind of really scribbled on there, but we'll make it work, so we can try one more. Okay, make my columns here. Okay, so we want to know what Daryl's is. So let's use J for Julie. So J equals Julie's years teaching, or number of years. Yeah. Okay, we'll pretend that looks right. Number of years Julie's been teaching. So Julie's years of teaching is J. Okay, so we know that Daryl has been teaching 1 longer than Julie, so it's Julie's years, plus he's been there 1 more year. Okay, I'm going to tell you that Julie, and this is just something I'll tell you, has taught 28 years. Okay, so we know the answer, but we got to work it out. Daryl is going to be J plus 1, that's Daryl's years. Julie is 28. Daryl is 28 plus 1, which is 29. So Daryl has been teaching 29 years. Okay, you'll have some problems like this where you'll fill in the table. The table will look very similar to this. Okay, let's try another example. I want you to take a look at this table. This table represents my age and my sister's age. And I don't have a sister, but let's pretend that I do. And I actually have a brother. And my brother is exactly, we'll say sister since it says sister. My sister is exactly 2 years older than me. Exactly. We share a birthday, so it's exactly 2 years. This is all made up, by the way. Okay, so I want you to look at the table of our ages. This is from the time I was born. When I was born, I was 0 years old. My sister was 2. When I turned 1, she turned 3. On the same day I turned 2, she turned 4, and so on. By looking at this table, if I was 8 years old, if I put 8 here, how old would my sister be? Well, looking at the pattern, I would see that if I was 8, my sister would be 10. And I know that because I just add 2 to my age. 1 plus 2, 2 plus 2, 3 plus 2, 4 plus 2, 8 plus 2. On the day I turn 16, my sister will turn 18 because I'm setting 2. I don't need to extend my table to figure that out. When I turn 40, my sister will turn 42. If I turn 100, my sister will turn 102 if we live that long. Okay, so we don't need to do any continuing of our table to figure that out. Now, what if you don't know my age? If you don't know it, we probably need to create a variable, just like we did in the last one. So let's say my age, let's say, is y, for my age in years. And I'm going to go ahead and put that here. If my age is y, how old is my sister? Well, you told me that if I was 8, you would add 2 to get my sister's age. So my sister would be whatever I am plus 2 more years. So if I'm y, she's y plus 2. If I'm x, she's x plus 2. She's always 2 years older. So this y could represent any number I want it to. Any number. If I'm 40, my sister is 40 plus 2. She would be 42. If I am 16, my sister is 16 plus 2. She would be 18. Okay, let's say I don't know my sister's age. Okay, so let's ignore that last column that I had there. Let's say we don't know my sister's age. Okay, so my sister is, let's do M. My sister is M years old. M is her age in years. And I want to know how old am I? When she's M, how old am I? Well, let's see. If she is 10, I would be 8. If she was 18, I'd be 16, and we just have to subtract 2. So I am whatever she is minus 2. 2 less than she is. These are separate. I just didn't want to do 2 tables, but these are separate. If I don't know one, but I know the relationship of the other one, and that is exactly 2 more, I can just use that variable and add 2 more. If I don't know this one, but I know the exact relationship is 2 less, I can subtract 2. If you're confused, please write it down in your lesson. We'll talk about it a little bit more tomorrow in class.